party like I got a lawsuit. Yeah, I'm in the Porsche coupe, waiting for the four-door to drop with the soft roof. And I can't be broken down at all, mom boss proof. Yeah, I got them peas wholesale, I get them off too. Long Godfathers on the beach in the resort too. Very athletic, hustling is a sport too. 9 stacks on me right now, nigga.
What is up, guys?
Two.
Welcome
you
to
was
another
in the way
episode
when I
of
was shooting.
Maximilian
You
Must
was
Know.
broke too.
We're doing what I'd consider to be, for me, a rare review of a pretty newly released designer scent. I don't know that I've reviewed a scent that was recently released, a designer scent at least. I can't remember. I'm sure I have, but I'm just not sure. So, why the change? Well, I had my eyes on this fragrance for a while, and the house is Valentino, and the fragrance is called Uomo. Now, the reason I had my eyes on this is twofold. First, when Fragrantica previewed this fragrance quite a bit ago, I really liked the look of the note and the bottle. And then seeing that Olivier Poage, a perfumer that I have so much respect for, you know, he's done 2 of my favorite scents in Midnight in Paris and Spice Bomb and Dior Homme. I realized that this was going to be an official release, like a real good release, and something to get my hands on. Additionally, Mark Robes, who is to me the Russell Simmons of Fraycom, he goes overseas a lot and gets to pick up new designer releases in duty free, and he grabbed this and had some good things to say about it on his Facebook group. So I knew this would be mine. It was only a matter of time, and that matter of time turned out to be a hell of a lot shorter than I expected, but more on that in a bit. First, let's talk about the house, which is easily a top 3 or 4 favorite designer house of mine. I'm not talking about their fragrances, I'm talking about just the designer that is Valentino. But before we get into that, let's talk about the Valentino story a bit. Valentino is a house that was started by a man named Valentino Garavani. He was born in Lombardy, Italy in 1932, and in grammar school as a kid, he knew he wanted to be in fashion. He interned for his aunt while in grammar school, and his aunt was like a local designer. But eventually, like everyone who's serious about fashion, he moved to Paris to attend the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts, and that's a school. And he apprenticed there for some top-tier designers, Jacques Faith, Balenciaga, Jean Dress, and Guy Laroche. But in 1959, he got sick of that. He felt like he was in a rut. He decided to leave Paris and set up shop in Rome with the help of his parents. And he sort of opened like a mansion-style boutique that was very Parisian and something that was foreign to Rome at the time. And he was getting a critical acclaim for his red dresses, to the point where nowadays there's a shade of color that's referred to as Valentino red. But the crazy thing is that at the time that Valentino was about to go under, he didn't have any more money, his parents had lost money, his friends were losing money, and he met a man named Giancarlo Giamatti. And Giamatti was a straight businessman. He had a lot of celebrity friends, he had a lot of money, and Valentino and him formed a partnership. And at that point, you know, the rest, they say, really is sort of history. He started doing dresses for really famous women at the time, Liz Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, Princess Margaret, Gloria Guinness. And by the mid-1960s, Valentino was considered to be the maestro of Italian couture clothing. He became really good friends with Jacqueline Kennedy. He did exclusive pieces for her, and she was wearing a Valentino dress at JFK's funeral. What I like about the aesthetic of Valentino is that this is a top Italian house without a logo. Gucci, you know, they have that sort of red and green thing. Prada has the red stripe. Versace has the Medusa head, the key pattern. Most Italian houses, except the really expensive ones, don't have logos. Brioni doesn't, Loro Piana doesn't, Bastioni doesn't, and Valentino doesn't. Valentino made a name for himself without splashing his logos on everything. He just did expertly cut dress clothing, and really beautiful women's wear and bags, and it's just really is. If you've never been to a Valentino boutique, I really implore you to do so, because the clothing is really beautiful, and again, it's one of those houses that's real luxury without the name being splashed across everything. As far as Valentino fragrances go, it's not something I've been familiar with. Adriana sent me Very Valentino Adrian from Decant Shop a few months ago, and I wasn't that impressed, and I really haven't thought of them as a fragrance company. Now, their parent company is the Spanish house Antonio Puig, and they do scents for Prada, Paco Rabanne, Carolina Herrera, Comme des Garçons. They're an official fragrance house, Antonio Puig, the real deal. And through Puig, Valentino has released about 20 scents with some of the biggest names in the industry, Morales, and Andrier, Crest, Poage, etc. Now, for me, when I look at this fragrance, this is Valentino's attempt to make a serious pitch at a clubbing scent. Mugler did that, and Paco Rabanne did that, and I'm sure they've generated tens of millions of dollars making that sort of a scent. And when you look at the notes in the bottle, I think it's pretty obvious that this is where they wanted to go. Now, this one was scheduled to be released in Europe, Russia, and the Middle East in 2014, and it would get to the rest of the world in 2015. But people in Fraycom have been buying it at a slightly inflated price on eBay and reporting back that it's reminiscent of Uomo. So I was debating whether I should wait until 2015 or get it off of eBay. The decision was made for me. Nordstrom made this available as their exclusive. The price is $75 for the 50 ml, $95 for the 100 ml. I went with the 100 ml and ordered it, and it came with 3 samples of my choice. So I did Prada Candy, I did Valentino Valentina, and the only male thing they had was a Jack Black, the skincare line for men, multi-purpose like oil. And it also came with, this is what I really like, it came with this 15 ml travel spray, which I really like to keep in my bag. But then what really sold the deal for me is this dop case. And you guys might not know, but a dop case is sort of to put your toiletries in when you go away. And with most of these sort of gifts that that these companies give away, usually the name of the fragrance is all over the place. This one, it's not. You just in the inside have the Valentino insignia, but that's it. Other than that, it's just a really nice leather dop kit. And again, $95. You get the fragrance, some samples, the travel spray, and of course the actual fragrance. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. Now, as far as your presentation, the box just has Valentino Uomo, Valentino. The concentration, nothing on the side. On the bottom, on the back, you have this ingredients, Valentino Uomo, nothing there. Batch code and barcode, nothing at the top. It does come with this, if you want to lock the cap in place, it comes with this, I'll show you guys. It's just unfucking believable. If I don't edit this out, it's because I'm just really lazy. Okay, I don't think I will. It comes with this, and you can sort. It's like a guard, I guess, to make sure it doesn't get sprayed if you don't want it to get sprayed, right? So I don't think I'm going to keep mine on. I think that it looks, fine without the actual guard. And then as far as your bottle goes, it's just it's a really classy bottle. It's sort of like you could see this pattern of pyramid glass, Valentino in gold, on the bottom a sticker, and a very nice atomizer. I think it's really one of the better ones I've used for designer scent. So presentation is really well done on this. I don't think there's any debate. This is a beautiful bottle, at least not in my eyes. The presentation is an A+ here. Now, this was released in 2014. Again, Olivier Poage. You can take a look online and see what he's done. Again, Spice Bomb, Midnight in Paris, Uomo. Great perfumer. Now, your notes on this fragrance are going to be bergamot and myrtle at the top, roasted coffee and gianduja cream in the middle, and cedar and leather in the base. So really interesting notes. And plenty of people, as I said, if you go on Fragrantica, have likened this to your home. Adrian at Decant Shop, who's selling this, told me it was great at first, but she got very limited projection, very limited longevity out of this fragrance. So I was really anxious to try it. And my first impression was, yeah, for all intensive purposes, this is Uomo without the iris. And I was really surprised and let down. I was hoping that by bringing Poage on, that Valentino would make a unique product, especially with the roasted coffee and gianduja cream in the middle. Gianduja cream, for those of you who might not know, is like a chocolate an Italian kind of chocolate with a hazelnut paste in it. It originates from Turin, Italy, which is where the founder of Sergio Uomo, is from, for a little fragrance fact of the day. But I thought this would be different. Now, as this fragrance starts to dry down after about a good 20 minutes to half hour, two things start to happen. First and foremost, it becomes a skin scent for me. At first, I thought Adriano was wrong in that this had good projection and longevity, but after almost a good week of testing, it just doesn't work as I hope it would. Now, the other thing that happens is that this fragrance goes in a completely different direction from Dior Homme. Dior Homme in its middle stages is waxy, there's iris and vanilla. This doesn't have that sort of makeup bag vibe going on that Dior Homme does. But I think Dior Homme is miles ahead in terms of complexity and composition, especially since it was a completely unique endeavor. Valentino Uomo was a good scent in the middle. It's gourmand. It reminds me like a bit of a Mugler scent with coffee and chocolate. But if I had to say what this scent is, it's a cross between Dior Homme and Play Intense by Givenchy. So nothing bad here. It's a really good fragrance, and I expected if Dior Homme didn't exist, this would be a top seller. I don't get roasted coffee, so if you're looking for a coffee fragrance, keep going. There's a tad of coffee in this, but it's more like the sort of coffee note with milk and sugar, and I don't get the Gianduja note either. Chocolatey, a little chocolatey, maybe a little hazelnut in here, but I think that was more of just a slick marketing gimmick. As far as wearing this fragrance, it is very safe. Women, if they can smell you, will love it. I think that it can probably work best in cooler spring air. It would seem like this fragrance would be good for you during the winter and fall, but I don't think it has a constitution to stand up to really cold air. My guess is that if this fragrance does well, and who knows if it will, we might get an intense version or a parfum version, and that would be interesting. On my skin, it's okay. I get 4 to 5 hours, but the projection is where it loses for me. This doesn't project for me at all. It's a skin scent, and I prefer my skin scents to be light citruses. If I'm smelling edible, it's because I want women to think I'm edible, and this just doesn't achieve that. I would say this is a unisex scent, so a woman could pull this off. Guys, rating this was really tough for me to do, but using my system, 6 points for the actual fragrance, 2 for the availability and price, and 2 points for presentation, this gets a 6 out of 10. It loses a big time on originality. The scent is good, but it doesn't score with longevity or projection. I think the presentation is bananas. You can get it now. It's available in the United States. I think the price is high. Almost $100 is a lot to pay for a fragrance that puts up such pathetic performance. There's so many options at the $100 level. You can get fragrances from Serge Lutton, L'Artisan Parfumé, Etat Libre d'Orange. And if you want to stay on the designer side of things, well, you can get Tom Ford fragrances, Hermes fragrances, Chanel fragrances, and perhaps the biggest indictment of this scent in my eyes is that you can get Dior Homme for less. And even though this veers away and becomes slightly more unique as it dries down, or dies down if I'm being honest, Dior Homme is just a better option. I don't know how often I'll be reaching for this, and at the very end of the year when I do my top 10 designer scents purchased in 2014, I thought this would be a shoo-in, but I'd be surprised if this snuck its way onto that list. Again, not a bad scent, just doesn't fulfill its potential in the least, and I think that Valentino, Puig, and Poage dropped the ball in this one. It was an opportunity to reestablish themselves to Fraycom, and it was a big whiff, unfortunately. You know, the big clubbing scents, the 1 Millions, the Angel Men's, the Dior Homme Intenses of the world, they all have one thing that this fragrance lacks, and that's beast mode performance, and you will not get it here. Okay, anyway, that is this week's episode of Maximilian Must Know. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know this review's been a little bit longer, but I wanted to cover this one in depth because there's a lot of talk in Fraycom about this fragrance, so I just wanted to give you guys my take on it, obviously. Got a lot of great stuff coming up. I'll just give you, real quick, some reviews that you can look forward to in coming months or coming weeks. We're going to be doing some Creed fragrances. We're going to be doing a Creed fragrance. We're going to be doing a Profumum Room, my first Profumum Roma fragrance. We're going to be doing an Eau d'Italie fragrance. We're going to be doing a Histoire de Parfum fragrance. We're going to be doing a Roja Dove fragrance. We're going to be doing a Mason Francis Kurkdjian fragrance. So you know what it is, man. Stick with me. I will have you smelling fly. Make sure to stay tuned every week for 2 videos. Sample shopping in the middle of the week. Fragrance review at the end.
I ain't selling one bag, man. I'm selling 2.
Good boy. My name is
We all got guns, so we shooting 2. Gucci, Louis, Bailey, and Versace too. Givenchy on the holster, we got money too. PSI don't lie, Joe snitching too. If my clique gon' ride, man, I'm riding too. If my clique gon' die, shit, I'm dying too.